I've been watching a lot of comedy today. There's this one there's this one YouTube channel. It's these two guys that are like college age, and the YouTube channel is called That's a Bad Idea. And it's just the most random comedy skits, but I think they're very funny. So I have been watching a lot of that today. Something that's been on my mind is how we don't have, in general, like in life, we don't have anything really figured out, and that there's a freedom in that. I think we do a lot of, hey, Allison, let me do this. I think we do a lot of pretending as if we know what's going on, or that we have achieved some amount of success in one specific area of our lives, like typically work, right? Maybe we have managed to get a well enough paying job and we've mastered that job, but that doesn't mean that we have mastered romantic relationships or platonic relationships or parental relationships. That doesn't mean we're great parents. We can be financially successful and overweight, right? And not know what to do when we get in the gym, or how to track our calories, or vice versa. You might be the fittest person in the world and be socially awkward. And we take these sections of our life that we've done well at, and then we try to project that on to the rest of our lives with other people, as if we've got it all figured out. And we don't. And then sometimes we criticize other people for the things that we have figured out for ourselves, negating the fact that we don't have it all figured out, and we just go around making each other feel bad. And then the person you make feel bad now has this like insecurity, and they feel inadequate. Meanwhile, the person who's feeling insecure and inadequate has their own particular area in their life that they excel at. Like maybe they're a good artist or something like that. And we just like do this to one another. And I was just thinking about it today. I'll get into it in a second, but like we don't give grace to one another. We don't give grace to ourselves. We do a lot of pretending, and it's like, why don't we, I say this to like teenagers sometimes. It's like, your parents like don't have it figured out. Your parents are really just people. Like when I had teenagers, I was in my 30s, and like I don't know, I was Googling, like when the first time my kid slammed the bedroom door, I immediately went on Google, like, what do you do when your kid slams the door? And this kind of thing. Anyway, who am I? I am 3+Kei. I'm just an honest Christian encouraging you to pursue the smile by prioritizing the Lord, your physical health, and persistent education. And this space right here is called the Secret Heart Club. Welcome to the Secret Heart Club. Everyone does their part to bring love, be loved. Hey, we love Jesus at the Secret Heart Club. All right. So the title is Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, and we'll keep going back to it. It's from Psalm 139:14. I don't know if you guys have your Bible out. Allison might. But Psalm 139:14 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And there's more to it. Before that, it says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. So today was kind of an interesting day. If you follow this channel, you know I am a social worker for my 9 to 5, and then 6 months out of the year I work various other jobs because social workers don't make all money. So 6 months out of the year I work really, really hard so that I can have a shot at a pretty decent life. So starting tomorrow, I will work 7 days a week until mid-October. But before you feel sorry for me, the jobs that I do, my part-time jobs that I pick up, are extremely enjoyable, and I would do them. If I didn't love being a social worker, I would do those jobs. So one of them is I work on a food truck, which is basically, I just serve people food and vibe with people for hours, and it's in the sunshine, and it's just like the most enjoyable job. But starting tomorrow, I'll be working every day for 6 months. Allison said, are you going to start streaming from the food truck soon? I am going to be streaming from the food truck. And those days, I'll probably make a mention that that's what's happening, because I won't be talking to the screen. You'll just see me doing my thing. You'll see me in action, like selling stuff and like trying to get people to buy it. But yeah, so today was my last free day for 6 months. And I was going to, I kind of mentor a young lady. And so I was going to take her to the art museum today. And it was time for me to pick her up. And she says she overslept. Can we go later? One thing about me is I hold boundaries. And what I would tell you, people watching this, is you teach people how to treat you. And one thing I do not like is for my time to be wasted. So if you knew we had plans, and this is not, she's a kid, so it is what it is. But if you knew we had plans at a certain time and it's time for me to pick you up, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm not going to wait an hour or so, because today was my last day and I had plans for the day. So anyway, I said, no, let's just do something some other time, except to be between me and you, I won't have another time. Hangout season is officially over right now. You know what I mean? There will be no hanging out until late October, and it is what it is. But yeah, so I went to the art museum, and guys, I am not a visual artist person. I don't like art. I don't like arts and crafts. I don't like knitting or what do you call it? Doing collages or anything like that. Not a fan. But I went to the art museum because it's something that I typically wouldn't do, and I've been meaning to go for months. I was just waiting for the snow to clear off the ground. Oh, Allison says, yes, I do not like flakes. One thing, when I am becoming friends with somebody, I tend to announce it, like we're entering a friendship. I like being friends with you, or however that conversation goes. And I will say 3 things about me. Don't lie to me. Don't waste my time, and don't waste my money. And when you set those boundaries up front, if people cross them, you gotta go, because it's not like you didn't know this about me. And wasting time is thievery. time is the one thing that we all have together, whether you're Jeff Bezos, Lauryn Hill, the homeless guy downtown, or your grandma. We all have 24 hours in a day. So what we can't do is steal time from one another. And that's what you're doing essentially when you're late or when you flake on somebody. But yeah, so I went to the art museum, and the first thing I was looking through like the books and the postcards. Hey, Boston! I was looking through the books and the postcards, and I picked a card for Miss Shelley, who is a preschool teacher I used to work with. People had mixed reviews because she's kind of loud and spicy, but so am I. So we got along really, really well, and we worked with the 3-year-olds. Boston says my new profile picture is because of the NBA playoffs right now. What does it say? It's too small. I'm on my phone, so I can't see what it says. But I got a postcard for Miss Shelley because I like her and I thought about her and I wanted to do something nice for her. And then I went on. The first exhibit were these 3 Montanan women. And what it was saying is that the 3 women are artists, and they changed, the course of Western art in Montana. Boston says it says NBA playoffs presented by Google Pixel. Who's playing? Who's playing in the playoffs? And so these 3 ladies, I was kind of looking at their art, and it was like sculptures, but like quilts and cloth and this kind of thing, but they were calling it sculptures. And so these women ultimately changed the face of Western art by women in Montana. Previous to these 3 as a collective displaying their artwork, their type of artwork with the cloth and the quilting was called women's work, simply. And so that was the first thing I learned. And then there was a Native American exhibit, and all sorts of artwork like glass and steel and bone. There was some with like recycled materials, and it was just like a very vast array of artwork from Native Americans, not just in Montana, but from all over the United States. And so that was interesting to me, the different ways people express themselves. And then finally, there's a professor, I forgot what his name is, but he had his own exhibit. And it was a lot of like buffalo and water animals and like Montana type artwork. And so at some point going through these exhibits, I was like, man, I'm really glad I came, not only because it's not something that I typically would do, but because I got to see how people express themselves in different ways. And so while I'm at an art museum, these people use art and then different forms of art to express themselves. But other people, like singers express themselves that way, or, some people cook. Is this my child? Is this my child on here? Boston says, your hair looks great. And I think my kid is saying, I love you. I love you too. I love you more. I love you more. And so I was thinking to myself, how do I express myself? And I thought, I have this YouTube channel. And so there's a way. I do the shorts, which are kind of like AI generated, but I do the Bible study long forms, and then sometimes I just go off script and talk about my day and how God kind of lived out the day for me. And then I'm on here as well, expressing myself every night. But it didn't sit right. And I was like, that's not, YouTube isn't necessarily how I express myself. Hey, Stephen, good yestermorrow, brother of the brethren. But the way I used to express myself, and it made me a little sad. And I was just talking to somebody about it today. So if you follow this channel, you know my values are being kind on purpose and outrageously generous. And at some point, like in the last year, I stopped being so kind on purpose. And the best instance I have of that is I like to do something called kindness shenanigans, which is basically like surprising somebody with an act of kindness they totally did not expect. And like my favorite example of this is I worked at a preschool, and the receptionist always drank like Dr. Peppers or whatever. So I went to the store and got 6 mini Dr. Peppers. And then I knew she had to do her rounds around the school. So I set the Dr. Peppers, the 6 Dr. Peppers in various places. So like I had a 2-year-old bring her one. When she stopped by the chefs, the chef gave her one. There was one hidden on her car. And it was like that, right? Just like a nice gift. And I have stopped doing that. And the reason why, and this is me being honest. People take advantage of your kindness. People take your kindness for granted. Like I started off saying like how I was going to pick somebody up, and then they were like, oh, can you pick me up later? And it's like, I was already going to pick you up and like take you to this location and like take you to lunch. Like I was already going to do this, but then you like took it a step further and you want me to wait on you now. And you can't just like appreciate it and show up on time. And that's been my experience over and over and over again through my life. And last year, it just compounded at one time because there was a moment of me being really, really low. And I looked up, and I didn't do it on purpose, but like I looked up because I was like, oh, I should call somebody. I should reach out to somebody. And I was like, I don't know that I have anybody that would pick up my phone call. Like, I'm not confident of that. Of course, I have many people in my life that would be like, of course I would pick up your call. But I wasn't confident of it. And of those people that I would have called prior to this low point, I was checking in with them weekly. Like, how are you doing? How are your kids doing? How is your job doing? And it occurred to me like a whole month had passed by and I hadn't heard from anybody. And to the point where like now I need somebody. I'm like, does anybody even care? And at that point, it was like, that's what kindness got me. That's what being like attentive and intentional, that's what that got me. And so since then, you could call it like hurt. You could call it like a bitterness. You know what I mean? But you can definitely call it being more aware and using my discernment now. And now my boundaries are pretty, they're so airtight. And I want to go back to being kind on purpose but I feel like I have to be strategic. I feel like I have to be strategic now. I feel like you can't just go be kind to people willy-nilly, which is what I used to do. And I think that is that's how I used to express myself, is like giving of my heart. And it's like I want to, but it's not necessarily wise, because you'll get hurt. And back to that, what I was saying before is like, we do that to each other. We just like do these things and like make each other insecure, and then what? And then if somebody speaks honestly about it, like I do, then sometimes they're gaslit, like, oh, just pray about it. It's like, no, I mean, like, yes, the prayer for me is that I would have heavy discernment moving forward and understand who to give my energy to. And for that, I'm really glad that food truck season is starting, because I'm able to give of myself and there's no expectation of receiving anything from anybody, right? Like, all you do is give me money for your food, but I can give you love and I can give you kindness. I can tell you jokes. I can ask you how your day is going, and you're under no obligation to return that. And the season I'm kind of in right now that's comforting. That dynamic is comforting, because I want to be loving, but I'm not confident in the way that people love me right now. I am not confident at all about the way people are loving me in this moment. People take advantage of my kindness too, and I'm a quieter person that doesn't know how to speak up for myself much. I really hate being lied to, and people do that way too much. Yeah. So the way I express myself is through kindness, and I'm about to be able to do that. I've been pretty to myself since that happened. It's been a year, and I think that too, like, it's time to get over it. That was like, I was just thinking about it today, like that was a season, that was a season of learning, and now it's time to enter a new season of embracing people who embrace me. I think it's hard to kind of back off of friendships, and I wouldn't say I'm still friends with those people, but it's definitely not the same. I think I would need to see more. I would need to see effort at this point, Steven says, the answer I got was, do nothing. I will find your house. This answer made no sense, because finding a house to rent is not easy and best done sooner rather than later. This is in context to Steven is telling us his testimony. It says, life moved on. I moved home with mom after breaking up with my girlfriend. The house mom rented was being sold, so we had to move out. Oh, man. The legal amount of was 3 months, so I wasn't too worried. 3 months is great. Here, I'm imagining, since you're using the word mom, you're not in the United States. In America, you do not get 3 months. You get a solid 30 days. And we have a whole rental crisis going on right now. I just got out of the housing sector. I'm in the behavioral health sector now, but I just got out of the housing sector, and I'm glad for it because it's a lot. Steven says, the answer I got was do nothing. I will find your house. This answer made no sense because finding a house to rent is not easy and best done sooner rather than later. Steven says, with 3 months to find a house, I prayed every day, and every day I got the same answer. Do nothing to find a house. I will get your house. I wonder how this is going to turn out. But in the way of expressing ourselves, that's kind of where that's where I was going with it. So if we look at Psalm 139:13, it says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. God knew all of our expressions of creativity before we were even born. And so he made us unique in that. And so in the way of like this art show that I went to today, or art museum that I went to today, God gave them the talent to, especially like the Native American exhibit, God gave them the talent to exhibit or demonstrate their pain through visual art. And even for me, this issue I have with kindness, like my whole life, people have said I'm too sensitive or I take things personally or whatever. And it's like, it's true. But at some point I read something. It was like, if you're a sensitive person, try embracing that instead of changing it, because you are who you are. Like God made you who you are. I'm talking to you people who are listening that are that have sensitive hearts. Like you have like softer hearts toward the world. God made you that way for a reason, because the world needs people with soft hearts. The prayer is for discernment and wisdom as far as like who to engage with and how to engage with them. If you try to change who you are, like who God made you, especially if you have a soft heart and you like try to be harder, you're just going to worry yourself and complicate your life. You'll give yourself anxiety and overthink like, oh, I should have said this and da 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 da. It's like, no, you know. Yeah. What are your expressions, you guys? How did God make you? One thing I love. So pregnancy is hard. And I don't know. I've never been pregnant. Never given birth. And I just I say it all the time. I love pregnant ladies. I love the elderly, and I love our vets. I heart them real bad. But only once in my life have I witnessed a woman that enjoyed being pregnant. And I don't mean like, oh, I don't mind or whatever, but she like thoroughly, she was always like rubbing her belly. She was just like all the little kicks and all the little, she was just, she was delighted by her pregnancy. And I will say the young man who is, he is 12 years old now. His name's Walker. Walker was an easy baby. Like he was a very joyful toddler. And the last I talked to mom, he was about 10. And he's an easygoing kid. And I think it's because she loved him like so much. Let's see. Allison says that scripture is good to protest abortion with, by the way. Yeah, I've definitely heard it. Definitely heard it. Stephen says, next thing, it's Thursday and Monday, we be homeless. My mom thought I was crazy doing absolutely nothing to find a house. Next thing, my niece rang me and asked if we had found a house yet. I said no. She said she found a house and we need to go meet the landlord tomorrow and try to get the house. Terrific. And when was this, Stephen? Allison says, I've been struggling with this recently. Thank you, Kei. You're helping me through something. Yeah, and one thing I keep saying, and I probably shouldn't say it. I say a lot of things I shouldn't say, but I think one thing I say is like, people are terrible. People are terrible. That is like my secular of the world way to kind of put it, that people are just no good. The biblical way to say that is that we are all fallen, sinful, wretched creatures. And what we do is hurt one another, you and I included. And that's the truth of the matter. I think some of us don't care. I think some of us don't care about the consequences of us hurting. Some of us apologize quickly. Somebody's like, you hurt my feelings. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Stephen says, we went to meet the landlord and he was mom's cousin, not close, but same tribe. Where are you from, Stephen? He and mom chatted. As I looked around the house, he said, you like it? I said, yes. He said, when do you want to move in? I said, tomorrow, because Monday we're homeless. We moved next day, Saturday, and in the kitchen, the cupboards reached to the ceiling. So I lifted my son. There's a son? This is so dramatic. So I lifted my son, who was 4 or 5 at the time, onto the bench. I told him to line the cupboards with newspaper so we can put our dishes away. We used to do that. Allison says, yep, we live in a fallen world. And Stephen says he started lining the top cupboards with newspaper, but something caught his eye. He reached in and pulled out a red gold signet ring. Then reached down and said, here, Dad, this will fit you. This is lots of twists and turns. Well, while you're typing, I'll continue with my day. So yeah, I had this great like existential moment thinking about the way I used to express myself, and is kindness even worth it anymore? Is anything worth it? Is it worth it to be a good person? And then landing on Psalm 139:14 and being like, no, God made me a kind person. And then I picked it up further and said, made a commitment as a value that I would be kind on purpose to people. So what does this mean for me? It's kind of how I left the art museum. And then I went to a place called Turner Farms because they had pizza meatballs from their pigs. Pizza meatballs, which were delicious. And I saw piglets for the first time. And I also saw lambs for the first time. And they were smaller than I thought. I don't know why I thought lambs were bigger than like what they are. But it made me think like how we're the lambs. And these lambs, they're cute, and they're so unaware and like so trusting of their environment. If you think about Luke 10, how Jesus sent the 72 disciples out, like sheeps to like lambs to wolves, the world being wolves, and we're the sheep, and we're so like docile and yeah, Ben, innocent. They were just like eating their whatever together, and it's like I could run up on you and just like tuck you under my arm and run away. That's what they were giving. Like even the piglets were like freaking out and going all over the place. Like I don't think I could like pick up a piglet and successfully like hurl it into my car and drive away. Maybe, but like I don't know. I'm not confident of it, but I am confident that if it wouldn't be illegal, I could have picked up a lamb and tucked it under my arm and put it in my car and drove away. And then you would see me on YouTube with the lamb right here, still minding its own business. And that's what we are, just kind of like unaware most of the time of the danger and the evil that surrounds us. But God is there to help shepherd our way, let us know when it's time to move on from this piece of grass and on to the next, you know. I couldn't believe it. They're so little. They're so teeny tiny. Or not teeny tiny, but you know what I mean. But that was what I thought. How defenseless we kind of are. But God. And then after that, speaking of Luke 10, I recorded Luke 10 today. I told you guys I felt convicted. I left off. The last time I recorded a Bible study was like 2 months ago. And I told you I was in the middle of recording Luke 9, and like literally like while I was recording, I was like, this is so boring. I'm so bored. And I thought about it just recently, and I was like, oh, I was like in a low mood. I was really sad or whatever. So I don't think it was that like the word was boring. I think I was just kind of like bored in life, like not happy in life or not happy that day. And so I had decided to stop recording it. But most recently, like this past week, I felt convicted. I felt the Lord tell me, like, listen, you started Luke. You need to complete the thing. You don't start the word and then just stop. And so I was like, yeah, that's something I could definitely pick up again. So I recorded Luke 10 again, and that will air Monday at 11 a.m. Monday at 11 a.m. I'll air it. And I did the thumbnail for it today. So I did that. And then finally, I went to the cafe. I'll tell you one thing. I didn't work out today. I'm going to tell you one thing. I did not go to the gym. Not only did I not go to the gym today, I didn't even go for a walk or anything. It was kind of, let me tell you, you guys have had these days when you're like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And as Christians, right, I think that's the trick. As Christians, when we say, I'm going to do whatever I want, because sometimes I say that and people get alarmed, like, what does that mean? You're going to shoot crack? Or you do shoot crack? What are you going to do? Shoot drugs? And kidnap a penguin? You know, and it's like, well, no, Christ is with me. I'm just not going to go to the gym today. I'm just going to I ate a mookie, which is like a muffin cookie. You feel me? Like I was a little naughty today. I ate a cupcake and a mookie. I bought pizza, meatballs, and I ate 4 of them. And I barely ate any broccoli at all today. Say what? But yeah, and then I went to the bookstore, which I don't do really because I don't want to spend any money. I bought myself an African latte. Yeah, the Guardian said, you got to do you. I bought myself an African latte, and this is the really naughty part because the African latte has milk in it. And I always, because I'm lactose intolerant, I'm always like, just put a splash of milk in there. Just put a splash. Don't. I drink it regular. I drink a regular latte today. Check in with me tomorrow about that. That's going to probably be a regret. That one's probably I'm going to regret that one. But hey. Allison says, sorry, but how come you aren't answering any of her questions she's had for you, Stephen? Horse! Horse, I thought about you today. It was the oddest thing. So I was in there's a college here. I was in the university district and 2 apartments. So guys, Horse is from Canada. And 2 separate apartment buildings on their balconies had Canadian flags draped over their balconies. And I thought that was so odd. Like, we love you guys in Canada, right? But this is America. And so if you're in America, why would you have Canadian flags? Do you know what I mean? It's obviously like some sort of like college student protest about something, but you guys know where I stand on this kind of stuff. It's just like, aren't you from Canada, Horse? Oh no, he's saying from Canada. I think if you're here from another country, it's one thing to say like, yeah, I'm from Uruguay or I'm from Bangladesh or whatever. I think it's one thing to say that. I think it's another thing to get a huge flag and drape it over your balcony of your home, your place of origin. I think it's like this, what do you call this? Like a nose thumb to the place that you're in currently. Like, what are you really trying to say? And also, if you are American and you want to have a flag from a different country, respectfully, it's kind of like, well, if you like that country, like super respectfully, if you like that country, why not go to that country? Why not go to that country? But if it's like a political statement, it's like, it's a little foolish. You got to stop the tomfoolery. You know what I mean? Yeah, we love you. We love Canadians. The point isn't like Canadian bashing. It's just like, why are you in America with waving a Canada flag? Students, you know what I'm saying? Stephen is in New Zealand. So I was just saying, it's almost time to go. The friendliest people I have met have been from New Zealand. We have an international rugby competition here in Montana once per year. And outstandingly, I mean, without a doubt, the people from New Zealand were the most friendliest. When you think of like traditional friendliness, like talkative and smiley and just kind of relaxed. And I think in general, all of the people from South America were very like warm, like kind, like they had a presence of maybe we're going to hang out after this. And the rudest people were from the East Coast by far. By far. It's ridiculous. I just don't like it. I don't like it because here in Montana, everybody's really friendly. And so it's not like, it's kind of like against the custom to like be rude, unless you're like there's like guys who drive like lifted pickup trucks and wear those like iridescent sunglasses. For some reason they're rude. I'm not sure like what that's about, because like we all live in the same place. It's got to be okay. But anyway, yeah. And so I did a devotional that my cousin sent me on being single. Shout out to my cousin. I love him so much. Where did my kid go? Where did my kid go? She just popped in and popped back out again. I'm gonna text her. All right. Oops, I forgot again. Subscribe. If you're watching this, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I gotta go. Tomorrow's Easter, guys. We didn't even talk about that. Shoot. All right. Well, happy Easter. I gotta go. Dear Lord, thank you for this time together. I want to thank you for Stephen and showing up in his life when he was about to be homeless and didn't know what to do, Lord. But as you are faithful in your nature, you came through for Stephen and his mom and his 4-year-old son as well. I want to thank you for being in Allison's life. She said that she's going through something right now. And Lord, we just ask that you come alongside of her in comfort and peace and strength so that she can carry on to be her best self and serve in your name for the people around her and beyond. I want to thank you for Horse out there in Canada. We sure do love him. And Boston, we know he's really into this NBA championship and the Celtics. And while some of us can't personally relate, Lord, we know how much it means to Boston, this NBA. So if you could just be with him and make sure that, above all else, that he's prioritizing you and his life. I want to thank you for the work that your son did on the cross so that we could go on and live with you in eternity forever and ever and ever. Amen. All right, guys. Said, is Bernie Sanders territory, Montana? No, this is Trump territory. But Bernie Sanders just came here. The town I live in is like Bernie Sanders. But everywhere else is like Trump country. Allison says, thank you, Sister Key. Amen. Good talking with you tonight. Some interesting people in here. Indeed. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Talk to you later.